Gen Z as a whole generation is bad at a lot of things. Bad at not getting addicted to vaping and making up new methods to get high. Bad at focusing for longer than 5 minutes without having to scroll on TikTok for an hour. Bad at not ordering DoorDash 4 to 5 times a week. But what Gen Z is best at, its magnus opus, is hate. There is no generation that is as hateful or vile as much as Gen Z is. There's generations that grew up and fought in wars, and I swear they're still not as hateful as us. If the people that fought in wars had to sit at a middle school or high school lunch table in 2016 and get roasted, they leave with more PTSD than on the warfield. Nowadays, it seems like everything that goes viral is due to some type of hate. Think of some of the biggest things.
It is. It absolutely is. No, there's a massive hater economy. Like, it is. Hate is a stronger emotion in a lot of cases than love.
Last year, Drake versus Kendrick, making fun of Ice Spice, happy for the elimination of the healthcare CEO. That one's a little more valid, but you get my point. We've kind of thrived on hate, like how the ancient Romans had Colosseum fights, and the crowd would cheer when it was a person versus a line to see if they would win over bloodshed. I wanted to talk about this now because there's been this trend on TikTok hating on a certain rapper. Someone you all should know. Like, I could literally put a picture of his hair and you would all guess it. XXXTentacion. The speed X took over the rap game was something I think we haven't seen since he came out. This man was in jail and look at me, came out and was going viral. He went in jail as a pretty unknown guy, then overnight became a celebrity. It was like one day on the internet,
he was real popular.
to see these variations of profile pictures of X. And I can't lie, I was one of them dudes in school rocking the X profile picture. He had that cult-like rap following that only a certain amount of rappers have. Nowadays, his closest equivalent is probably Cardi Glazers. You got Ye fans, Travis Scott fans, Youngboy fans. But I would say out of all of them, he was blowing him out the water with the amount of grass he had on his fans, even just from my account. I used to be staying updated on everything he had going on, and he was always getting in some type of drama. So you could always check his Instagram story and there being a chance he's dissing one of your favorite rappers. And even if you didn't listen to him or didn't care about him, you had no choice but to see him because the social media pages were posting him all the time. I remember so many were trying to sound like X and even copy the cadence he talks in.
No, cannot take a loss. Hey!
He was relatable to a lot of the younger generation because he would talk about his depression and what he's going through, and also give motivational talks all the time, telling people to chase their dreams. The last rapper to do something like that for a generation was Ye, which is why when he—
That's crazy to compare him to Kanye West. That's nuts. Like, I never thought about it like that. Yeah, I like them. I never really had an opinion on him, honestly. Yeah, maybe that's crazy. Like, I never really had a strong opinion one way or another.
Passed away, it was such a big deal to people. And for a long time, people have talked about his impact.
He beat his girlfriend?
And how big he could have potentially been. But now, apparently on TikTok, people have been hating on him. Like, this isn't some small trend or something. It's a huge, big trend on there. We all know, since X was always talking about his depression and his thoughts all the time, they would always use his songs and him speaking in sad edits and emo edits. We can never forget that Bart Simpson profile picture. I'm glad to say I was not one of those dudes rocking that. A lot of people would hear what he said and act fake depressed online.
My life sucks, man. If people only knew.
Nah, bro, this shit is not new. Like, this isn't some Gen Z shit. People were doing this back in MySpace. Like, this was something that people in my high school did. Fuck. I mean, really, yeah. Acting depressed for attention. This isn't... Gen Z doesn't own this. Yeah, this is emo kids. Yeah, exactly.
The pain and anguish I went through to be here, they'd respect me more.
Jimmy, your parents live in the richest part of Beverly Hills.
Yeah, this is, dude, this is the same shit that we had 20 years ago. This is, there's nothing new about this at all.
House. Them Bart Simpson edit videos used to go crazy back in the day on YouTube though. And was X sometimes exaggerated with getting his point across? Yes. So people have been bringing up these clips recently, posting him acting like that back in the day and kind of clowning him.
Do you have any relationship with your father?
What's that? What's a father?
What about it?
From mental illness, or do you suffer from depression?
Do I think I suffer from mental illness? I think I'm different. And that's the last thing I'll say on the video. You can keep that in there, though.
The people are mad about this?
X is the complete opposite. X desires control.
I think that this is like maybe a hot take, I think that in order for somebody to have like a viral, really compelling personality, they have to border on cringe sometimes. Because that's what makes them interesting. They have to, like, yeah, exactly. Who is this guy? Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Is like, and if you think about it with a lot of different people that are like really popular, they do a lot of weird fucking shit.
Controversy.
Like, bro, it's one thing posting him and saying this is kinda cringe looking back on it. To be honest, a lot of that stuff just didn't age well from that era. You could look back on any era and there's always gonna be some cringe things. But people in the comments be talking about he had to go. Or be talking about his music wasn't good. Like, where did this hate come from?
I mean, people do this with everybody, right? I mean, they do this with me. They do this with anybody. They just like, the thing is, the reason why everybody hates nowadays is because people hate themselves. People live in lives that are so fucking shitty. They work dead-end jobs, and they see some, borderline illiterate retard that becomes rich because of a weird way he talks, and it makes them angry because they have to do DoorDash, and this guy has a mansion. That's the reason why it happens. I think that 90% of hating on the internet is purely out of envy and jealousy. And I think that 50% of that 90%, I don't know what that fucking 45% of that is, just basically a manifestation of class consciousness that the young people don't understand the genesis from where those feelings are coming from yet. And I think that's really where it's coming from more than anything. People don't hate Hawk Tuah. They think Hawk Tuah is funny. People hate the fact that Hawk Tuah made a bunch of money being funny in a way that they think is unearned. That's the difference. And I think that it's about money, influence, and attention. And when there's a person who's getting money, influence, and attention, they naturally attract haters because people want to have that and they don't think that that person deserves it. And you see this with any popular person, with Elon Musk, Donald Trump, I never learned how to pronounce his fucking name. But this guy, like Kanye West, XQC, Hassan, Kai Cenat, like, it doesn't matter. It's the same with everybody. It's the same with everything. It doesn't matter if it's a streamer, a YouTuber, a politician, the president, it's all the same.
That's brand new to me, because for the longest everyone was saying how talented X was and how far he could have made it, but now because of a couple of viral TikToks he's all of a sudden the most corny person and was never good. This guy probably explains it best from what I've seen happen on TikTok.
Let's not play like X wasn't cool as shit. Y'all love to fake support someone, and the second like some bad shit come out, you're always like, damn, like I knew from the beginning, like I was one of.
So fucking true. So fucking true. Oh my god. Has there ever been a bigger true? Yes, bro. 100%. I knew he was one of the bad ones. No, you didn't. You're tier 3 subbed in his chat. Shut up.
Them ones who was like, I knew from the beginning. I was a day one hater, because that's not even a flex, dude. Was not hating on X before that clip came out. You just hopping on the wave. Y'all love to bring a nigga down, bro. Y'all love to see someone who's been getting constant love, and the second some controversy come out, y'all trying to act like he was bad the whole time.
Now, I'm not gonna say, okay, this happened to me so many times, right? He's right about all of this. 100%.
In reality, you was just waiting for a moment to finally bring his name down. Why is everyone saying...
Best example recently, Pirate motherfucking Software.
They knew he was corny when he had so much love and not a hater was in sight.
That's right.
Like, somebody's lying. Do I have a father? What's that?
As soon as a couple people turn on someone, everybody's gonna act like they always thought that person was corny and never good. At the end of the day, back then, everyone was a little more cornier, especially if you're younger still. But like, do you know
it's like people don't like that? Like, why? The thing is that you go through a phase, I think, whenever you're like, I don't know, 17, 18, maybe like in your 20s, early 20s, where you cringe at the things that you did whenever you were younger. And then I think that at least this is the way it was for me, is that you get older than that and then you look back at the cringe stuff and you wish that you could do it again. You give anything to go back to those times, man. So I think that's really, but like it's still, they're young, right? And so like it's just young people with retrospective of being even younger. Stop giving a fuck. Yeah. It's like you think about like being cringe. Like who thinks about being cringe? Like high schoolers think about being cringe. Like middle schoolers think about being cringe.
Used to wear, this was the average fit back in 2017. It's crazy how in our generation, a couple of TikToks of someone being cringe go viral, and people shift from loving the person to hating them. There was a time when you talked any on X for years, people would come for you. I think what a lot of this hate is really coming down to is either those kids who used to listen to him grew up and are cringing looking back on it, and new kids are coming in.
People do that with YouTubers a lot.
Who never listen to X and are just on him. Back in the day, would watch this and think it's the toughest thing of all time. I feel like,
but you gotta say, like, ain't nobody gonna do that. 100 years from now, people are gonna look back at Michael Jackson. They're gonna think he was the king of pop. Ain't nobody gonna do that to Michael Jackson. Or Freddie Mercury. Never. David Bowie, never.
And making fun of dead people who never did anything is a common thing. Like, I remember when the George Floyd protests were going on and people were making memes of George Floyd. It wouldn't be funny
I mean, like, let's be real. Like, there's still a lot of memes of George Floyd even now. Like, I mean, what the fuck?
9% of the time, too, it was just cringe. Another thing that showed me how hateful our generation is was when gender arguments and people started to dedicate podcasts to hating another gender. I think
there's a lot of podcasts that are about how women are stupid and they're whores and all they want is money. And basically everything that they like is stupid and they're not as smart as men. And basically, did I miss anything? I think that's about it. There's like 4 or 5, right? There's a lot of those.
The reason why the birth rate is declining worldwide is because the people that run these stupid ass podcasts. In the past, you went out to find someone and had your criterias, then boom, marriage. But nowadays, people get swayed for a potential option because they had fresh and fit tell them otherwise.
Yeah.
This is a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think if you're in a serious relationship with a girl, she should not have an Instagram. That's cheating.
Gen Z men are boring. Men are boring.
I'm going to be honest. I think that Ethan absolutely cooked the fuck out of that guy when, like, this guy's single. Ethan is, like, married with a kid. And this guy's trying to, like, I'm not going to listen to somebody's fucking opinion about stuff whenever they don't even have a wife. They're not married. Like, they got no fucking idea, right? What else is? Oh, let's listen to it. Let's listen to it real quick.
I think if you're in a serious relationship with a girl, she should not have an Instagram.
Here's this one.
Gen Z men are boring. Men are boring. You're lazy. You're boring.
Wow.
You don't have hobbies. You're unambitious. You don't know how to talk to women. You're not respectful.
I think we're at the point where these type of dumbass people aren't getting as much attention anymore. Both men and women are absolutely...
Nah, let me tell y'all why it's popular. The reason why it's popular is because there's a lot of men and women that are hurt from relationships and they feel like they can't get into a relationship. So they watch these podcasts that make them feel better about themselves and teach themselves to hate the other gender because they're unhappy. It's like a sour grapes situation. I think that's the reason why. It's just that she's correct, though. Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the thing is that the most pervasive thing about a lot of these podcasts is that about 30% of what they say is really true. But the other part of it is generally just unresolved personal trauma that's manifesting itself into a podcast. That's what I think. I think that a lot of the people that get involved in this stuff are talking about their own personal experiences. And I think also in a lot of cases, these are people that are not married. They don't have a happy relationship. These are people who are single, who are trying to give other people advice. It's like, I mean, if you went to an Alcoholics Anonymous fucking meeting and the guy there was a drunk, would you really think that this guy is the one who's going to get you out of it? Because I would think he's not. Isn't that you? Yeah, but I say many times people shouldn't, like, I have experience, like, I think it's easy to say, like, respect somebody's consent. Don't touch people without their consent. I mean, I feel like this isn't really, like, what are we talking about? That's a totally different situation. It's a pushback against feminism. Yeah, I think it is too.
Tired of this shit. I notice no matter how much they fearmonger these things, saying something like all these girls out here are gold diggers and will pretend to love you, or saying all these dudes are manipulating you and are always ready to cheat. I almost never see these type of situations happen in real life. And if I do, it's like 1 or 2 cases I've seen in my whole life.
Y'all ever notice that? How like everybody, like all this internet shit happens? How many of y'all like around my age and like all this like internet lingo and like all these fucking fake rules for like how to talk to women and like how to act around people? Like you have tons of people that are in your real life that you grew up with that are totally happily married and they have kids together and there's no problems and this shit doesn't even exist to them. They don't even know about it. Yeah. 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 I got a lot of friends like that. They must have missed the boat on this. They forgot. Women aren't real, Baldy. Wake up. I know that. That's why I don't want to play them in games, bro. Like, I don't want to see that. I'm trying to get immersed.
I realize the reason why these people are saying these situations are so common is because they hang out in those type of environments.
It's because they had it happen.
The average person is not running into this a lot of times. And it's showing more that the person that runs into this stuff all the time just has choices at picking. But because of social media and because their voices are so amplified, it's why it's a common thing for men and women of our generation to run around with these ideas. Another thing that showed me how hateful we are is politics. There was no other generation where someone's political view pissed you off so much that you couldn't be friends with that person anymore. I'm talking about the
I feel like probably, I mean, in the Civil War, like maybe, I don't know. I feel like probably in the Civil War, there was probably some situations like that. But maybe, I don't know. And also what I find to be funny is that you get these people that are like, oh, we can't be friends anymore because we don't have politics that agree with each other. Meanwhile, Obama and Trump are sitting next to each other laughing and talking. So who's really retarded here? What's going on with this?
On extreme cases, of course. You know, if someone's extremely insane on either side, that's valid to cut them off. Like, sometimes people just can't be helped. But people will cut off their family over who they voted for.
Yeah,
both sides.
Blocked.
Nah, I bet with this case, this is what I bet. These people that are cutting off family because of, like, some political reason, I bet that's the tip of the iceberg. I bet they've got 50 other fucking problems with their family, and they're not talking about that. And they're just looking, this is the last straw. And this is an excuse.
I blocked my sister too. She the only one that smoked and she couldn't take her ass down there and vote. So now we're cutting off people because they didn't even choose to vote? Bro, what happened to it's the choice to vote? Only 64% of the US population that could vote voted in the last election. It's not like the whole country comes out every time. And our generation got the worst of it. We have some of the most extremely odd and insane politicians of all time.
Nah, you think it's gonna be bad. This is whenever they were doing that Kenya shit, bro. Like, this dude was like fucking, he was AFK. He was totally fucking AFK at this Kenya shit.
Our president was sleeping through half the job while the other could wake up one day randomly and decide to take some away from us. And the person he was against was campaigning by getting celebrities to twerk on stage. If you told Americans this is how politics would be in 1999, they'd call you a crazy person. And this all literally just started in 2016. Like, Gen Z ain't have a single chance for peace. Millennials had George Bush and Obama way more.
Yo. Now this kid is younger than me. Bro. It was the same thing. At this time, it was the same fucking thing. Now, Obama didn't have a lot of problems, but there were a lot of people that were wilding out about Obama. For, you know, a couple obvious reasons. George Bush, people made their entire political careers goofing around about how George Bush says and does dumb shit. Big ears? Well, no. Obama, it's because he was born in Kenya and married to a transsexual man named Mike. Those were the two reasons people didn't like Obama.
peaceful. Even though they protested George Bush, their protests are nothing close to the protests Trump beginning. They be filling up whole cities with his protests. And on the other side, of course, you got the Trump rallies where you'll see riding you've never seen in your life. The social media algorithm kind of makes it so you have to pick one side and one side only, which has affected Gen Z the most.
This has happened, I think, and like that's why, like, anytime that I cover a political topic or anything like that, I will always get people that will get mad at me if I do any pushback against something that's like on their side. Like people get really mad. Like they hear that and they're like, okay, we don't want to hear that. Like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, no. When not being biased. Yeah, exactly.
Proven we have the biggest political gap and worst arguing. Because as soon as you start to see a couple of posts relating to that side, your whole feed is eventually going to be full of it. And it's not people's fault. Social media has manufactured it to be like that. There's a lot of victims out there who unintentionally has had this happen to them and has shaped who they are politically. I try my best to distinct a lot of this.
I really need to get the time to watch Andrew's thing about that Kelly guy. I really do. Like, I talked to, I guess I just say, I actually talked to Andrew a little bit about it. And I need to actually watch that and look at it. It's like a thing that he did. And so talk to her? No, fucking Andrew Callahan, Channel 5. No, not Andrew Tate. No, a different one.
Stuff and not fall down any stupid rabbit holes because I'm not dedicated to either side anyways. To me, it's more of a problem that our generation doesn't even like to hear out the other side a lot of times. People just assume the worst and think you're lost and don't want to talk to you. The bad news about this too is it's gonna keep getting divided. When Gen Z starts raising kids, these are gonna drill their beliefs into their kids' minds.
These kids are gonna be retarded. Like, because you got the parents that are retarded. Like, I mean, you're going to have, like, I'm telling you, like, these kids might not even, like, will they know how to spell their own name by 10 years old? Like, how to write their own name? I think that there will be not 100%. I think that it will be, like, 70%, 80%. They're cooked. No, I'm telling you guys, like, it's really...
Their brain is even in a solid state. My parents raised me and my brother off the notion of not to talk about adult things when we were young, which I liked. And politics was one of those.
My parents were the opposite. Like, my dad be immediately talking to me about this shit. Like, I was like 6 years old. My mom be like 6. Like, I remember hearing about like George Bush. Like, I'm like 11 years old. My mom's like, yeah, there's no way they fell down that way. No, there's no way.
Things because as a kid, your parents should not be telling you about the political and economic state of the world, bro. You should be worrying about playing Roblox and Fortnite and getting brain rot from TikTok.
They didn't go and do that.
Gen Z was like the whole experiment in the social media political world. So Gen Alpha next is going to be more divided than us. Then Gen Beta is going to be more divided than after that until the point of implosion. Anyways, that's all I've got for real. If you're a hater, stay a hater and make sure to comment something hateful. Let's keep this train moving. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, I love you guys consensually. And until next time, I'm out.
So I think this is a really good video, but I think that he misses a really core point in where a lot of the generational hating comes from. I think that you don't see a lot of people that come home from their successful job to their beautiful wife and their 2 kids, and they say, sorry, honey, I can't spend time with you yet. I need to go make another hate post about a streamer that I don't like. Nobody does that. The only people that do that are unhappy loser retards that spend their entire life on the internet trying to figure out reasons why it's not their fault that they fucked up their life. And so you have these people, and this is a big issue. And so they see somebody, they see, like, let's say, for example, I'm trying to think, some girl on OnlyFans. Like, just take your typical, everyday, 1% OnlyFans girl. People hate that because it's not fair. It's not fair that this girl is 22, she's making $100,000 a month, and she's able to buy a Lamborghini, and she didn't graduate high school, and it's all just because she's hot. That's it. That's the reason. It's not that, bro. It is. It absolutely is. And she's stupid. Yeah, exactly. They don't like that. It's bad RNG. Yeah, good for her. But the thing is that, and we don't have this type of hater behavior as much in my chat because we have people that are older. And so the reason why the younger generation does it is because the younger generation, in a lot of cases, hasn't built up enough of a culture, enough of a life of their own in order to really be proud of that. So, like, for example, when you're 21 years old, you're basically a fucking loser, right? I mean, you're low level in a video game, right? But, like, by the time that you're, like, let's say 30, like, you've maybe been in a career for 5 years. There's a good chance that if you got a good degree, you might be making a 6-figure salary. Like, you have like real maybe responsibility or power at your job. Like, you don't need to be thinking about what people on the internet are doing anymore because you're worried about your own life instead. And so what happens is that young people get really attached and they get really fixated on these online issues because that's the only thing that they really can do in a lot of cases. And I think that they see the amount of inequality and the amount of unfairness in the world. And a lot of, I think, Gen Z and, like, I think hater culture is actually a proxy class war. And I think that the people that are taking part in it don't even understand it. They don't even know that they're part of it. But I think that when they see somebody get this amount of attention, get this amount of, like they're liked so much. Like, look at the way that people approached Pirate Software, for example. They didn't like the fact that people liked him and took him so seriously. They just don't like that at a base level. And I think that's true with almost anybody if you really kind of break it down. And so I think what's really happening is that you have a group of people that effectively has no identity, or their identity is completely in opposition of something else. That's how they built their identity. And they're angry because the world isn't the way that they want it to be. And they feel like things aren't fair. And the truth is that they're right. They're right. It's totally fucking unfair that some people get a bunch of money for streaming and you don't. It's totally fucking unfair that some people are just genetically or athletically gifted and it's easier for them to play professional sports than it was for you. That's true. And there are so many of these cases. And some people just have incredibly good spawn RNG, right? It's like you're born and your parents are rich. Okay, well, that was easy. GG, right? Wow. And so this is the problem, is that pretty privileged. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're attractive, you have a huge advantage in life. You have a massive fucking advantage in life if you are attractive. And if you're not, you have a huge disadvantage. You have people that are distrustful of you. You have people that don't like you. You have people that are going to be more likely to dislike you. And not as a guy, it absolutely is true as a guy. Let me tell you from experience, it is absolutely true as a guy. If you go read any comment section about me, look at how many comments are just people, I don't like looking at him. I knew just by looking at him, I didn't like him. It's constant. Constant that happens. And so there are negatives for this too. And so anyway, yeah, guys especially. Well, it's girls too. I think that girls suffer from it more, but males are also, it's worse for women, but it exists for guys. But yeah. Anyway, lots of people can work out and still be ugly. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Either way, that's not my point. My point is that life is full of unfairness, and young people don't have any identity to combat that unfairness. They haven't built up an identity or a degree of self-confidence or self-reliance that makes them take on the unfairness of the world with confidence. And I think also the world is more unfair now than it ever has been. Like nowadays, there's more wealth disparity than, as far as I know, any time in human history. Maybe Roman Empire, right? If you include slaves. But like, other than that, I feel like it's the worse now than it ever has been. And so because of that, let me link you guys the video. This guy's good. I like him. And it's a good video. And that's not true. You know what? I actually don't know that. I know it's the worst that it's ever been in American history, but in all of history, I don't know the answer to that. So I can concede that. But I know it's the worst that it's ever been in current American history. And so, yeah, Any American history, it's the worst it's ever been. And so Gilded Age, it's worse than Gilded Age. You can look at Genie Index and it'll prove you that. So anyway, but it even, and that's crazy, right? It's crazy. It's even worse than that. And so anyway, and it's been that bad for 10 years. And it's only gotten worse. So anyway, the point is that I think a lot of people out there, they don't understand that that's really kind of what separates them from these people is money. It's money and a sense of identity. And I think that that's why people, and I think that this is also like the opposite of this is stan culture. It's people that develop their entire personality around a Minecraft YouTuber or around a K-pop band or something like that, or around a streamer. So this is the exact same thing. I'll read a few comments about this, but I think that it's actually a very, very huge topic. And I think that the amount of reasons why people feel this way is astronomical.